No worries. What's up, David?
What's up, brother?
How are you, champ?
Doing good, man. Just right here in Saudi Arabia right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while, but I saw your dad a few months ago in Frisco.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we just been working hard, bro. I'm really excited for this card.
Yeah, so let's kick this off, man. I didn't give you my formal intro, but I'm here with the two-division champ, super middle light heavyweight, the Mexican monster, dubbed by the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson. Got a big fight against Anthony Yarde, November 22nd in Saudi Arabia. I don't know what time that will be, your time or my time, but how you feeling?
I feel good, man. I'm very excited. I've been working extremely hard for this training camp, and everything has gone really well. You know, the preparation has gone well. You know, we got the miles in, we got the strength and conditioning in, we got the rounds of sparring in, and now the only thing is to do is, you know, cut the rest of the weight and perform next Saturday.
Yeah, man, you're a guy that doesn't cut corners. But before I get into the fight, I just want to get your thoughts on some breaking news the last couple of days. AJ versus Jake came out from Mike Coppinger. What were your thoughts when you saw that?
Yeah, it was a bit surprising. You know what I mean? It's a tall task coming from, you know what I mean, literally moving from Gervonta Davis to Anthony Joshua. So man, this is gonna be a tough fight. You know, honestly, it's probably the hardest fight he could have took. You know what I mean? And I like Jake Paul and everything, but you know, Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. You know, it's a dangerous fighter. You know what I mean? You've seen exactly what he did to Ngannou. You know what I mean? So it could probably be a repeat of the same, but you know, nonetheless, you know, big respect for Jake Paul for taking the fight. You know, it's going to be a big event, and it's going to be good, man. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
In your backyard too, Miami.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're probably going to pull up. What day exactly is that going to be?
I don't know. I don't even know if it's been announced officially, but I'm sure you'll be there.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's Jake Paul's really showing his balls on this one, so you know it's gonna be a good fight. So I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, going against the former heavyweight champion. And then on the not so good side of boxing, Joseph Parker, it came out that he tested positive for a banned substance against Yardley. Any thoughts on that? I mean, he lost the fight, but
yeah, and I mean that's unfortunate. You know, this is my first time hearing about that. You know, so the emotions are kind of, you know, they're kind of everywhere right now. I guess the bad substance didn't work for him in that fight, obviously, but I guess we have to sit back and see what type of banned substance it was. But you know, it's really unfortunate. You know, I don't know if he doesn't look like he's the type of person to do something like that purposely. So hopefully it was something that that you know that it wasn't. I think I'm reading it right now. But it sucks. It sucks. I mean, hopefully he just gets his stuff together, you know, and comes back stronger.
Yeah, it was a little shocking being who it was, Joseph Parker, a veteran of the game. But let's talk about your fight, man. You know, you're one of the most entertaining guys in boxing, must-see TV. Every time you get in that ring, you entertain. You're fighting a guy, Anthony Yarde, who's a veteran of the game. He's been around. He's shared the ring with Kovalev. He's been in there with Beterbiev. Why him? Why now? It seems like a little bit of a risky fight for you, just because I know you got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't see fights like that, in my opinion. I only see fights risky if you don't take the necessary precautions to get ready for the fight. But me, I don't overlook anybody. I work extremely hard. I have like 4 months and a half working for this training for this fight. Anthony Yarde is not necessarily the hardest fight out there for me, but I given him the respect like if he is. He's fought against he's got stopped against Kovalev, he's got stopped against Archer Beterbiev. He's got a great performance, but he's still been stopped. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a fun fight for until how long it lasts. And you know, I know he's gonna come prepared, but I come prepared too. You know, I'm not scared of any fight. You know, I'm not scared if a fighter comes ready. I'm not scared if a fighter has power or if you have good IQ. You know, that's why I am who I am. That's why I'm David Benavidez. That's why I'm the monster. Because, you know, I don't run from nobody. You know, if anything, I welcome big fights. I welcome wars, and you know what? However he wants to do it, let's do it. You know, I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
Is there anything in particular you got to watch out for with him, or you just worry about fighting your fight?
No, I mean, there's definitely stuff that you have to worry about. You know, he has good counter punches. He has a good left hook. It looks like he has power. So, you know, I'm gonna be who I always am. You know, I always have good defense. I always have a good jab. I always have, you know, good flurries. I could counter punch as well. So these are stuff. This is stuff I know how to do really well. You know what I mean? So I just got to do what I'm doing, what I've already know how to do, but you know, just do it better.
Yeah, and I listen, man. I know you'll go in the ring with anybody. You know, you're not one of those guys. I call you a legacy fighter. You know, like Devin, Haney, Crawford. You know, there's a handful of you guys. You're not just chasing the bag, but you're really chasing legacy. So you're not so concerned about the you want to fight the best. You were hoping to get the winner of Beterbiev Bivol 2. That fell through. How disappointing was it? And do you think you'll get him in the ring next year, one or both?
Yeah, it was a little disappointing, but honestly, I see things like in the longevity of things, it's not really disappointing because it would be disappointing if I was just looking for a paycheck just to retire, but I'm not. You know what I mean? Every fight for me, I'm barely 28 years old, so I have a long, long time left. So the longer they take, the harder it's gonna be for them. You know what I mean? I'm still in the prime of my career. You know, I'm still hungry. I'm still itching for them big fights. You know what I mean? So I'm while I wait for these fights, I get the experience. I get to beat these other big fighters. You know what I mean? And I get to get that experience. I get to use that for my upcoming fights. And it's gonna happen eventually. You know what I mean? I just gotta be patient. In boxing, you know, the big fights, you always have to be patient. So while I wait for these big fights to manifest themselves, I'm getting experience other places. You know what I mean? So in the long run, it's gonna help me. It's gonna help me fighting all these fighters while I wait for the champions. And then when I get in the ring with the champions, I'm gonna have all the experience from all these other fighters that I beat that I could, you know, take into those fights. So it doesn't really hurt me. I don't really mind waiting. Like I said, I'm still 28 years old. I turned 29 this December. So, you know, I'm still in the prime of my career.
Yeah, I would maybe even say entering the prime. One fight you waited and waited and waited, and for whatever reason, you know, maybe there is reason, didn't want to get in the ring with you with Canelo. At this point in your career and what happened with Crawford, is that fight dead? I mean, is that 100% dead at this point?
I don't think it's 100% dead. To be honest with you, until Canelo retires, I think that fight is always going to be looming. That fight makes sense. It makes sense in every way that happens. So in my head, it's not going to not happen, because even if we wait another 3 years, it's still going to be one of the biggest fights in boxing. You know what I mean? But also Canelo knows that I'm not playing games with him. I'm not playing games with anybody. You know, if anything, he knows that this fight between me and him is inevitable, and when it happens, it's going to be like an Oscar De La Hoya versus Chavez. So, in my opinion, you know what I mean, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be an option, but I'm not really focused on that myself. I'm focused on Dimitri Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, Zurdo Ramirez, and anything else that comes after that. You know what I mean? And then after those fights get done, maybe that's when the time is going to be perfect to make the Canelo fight.
I was going to ask you about Zurdo. He's coming off a hand injury. I think Eric Gomez said last week here in Fort Worth for Boots or Virgil Erickson that he should be ready for his quarter. Is that a possibility? I know you've sparred with him, but for next year, you think you might get him in the ring?
Yeah, definitely. That's what it's looking like. First things first, we got to take care of business next Saturday. But like I said, I'm just trying to make the biggest fights happen. I have 100% confidence in myself that I could beat anybody here at 175 and at cruiserweight. So if I'm able to get an opportunity to fight, you know, Zurdo Ramirez next for 2 more titles, like you said, I'm a legacy fighter. You know, there's no way in hell I'm going to turn down a two title fight in the cruiserweight division. So that's definitely something that looks like it can manifest itself. But, you know, first things first, we take care of Anthony Yarde. And if we could get that next year, that's exactly what we're going to go into.
Going back to Canelo real quick, but not really Canelo, Crawford, were you surprised of his performance? And is he now on your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah,
time.
definitely. I honestly, I knew Crawford would he would be able to give Canelo a fight like that. I just, to be honest with you, it just looked like Canelo thought that he was going to knock him out with one shot, and it didn't look like he prepared for that. It was two different stories. It looked like an arrogant fighter who doesn't prepare, that thinks he's going to knock the smaller fighter out with one shot, and it looks like the other fighter, it's the hardest training camp he's ever had in his life. He put everything into that fight. So it was a fight of two stories. You know what I mean? So the fighter that was more dedicated, the fighter that worked the hardest, was the one who won. And I definitely put Crawford on my Mount Rushmore because he went up. Was it 3 weight classes, 2 weight classes?
Yeah.
And then that's unheard of. You know what I mean? So I definitely give him the respect he deserves, and he definitely is. He was already an all-time great, but now he's definitely all-time great Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and you're kind of chasing his legacy, and you got plenty. You're 10 years behind him. So, but I'm here with the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. I'll get you out here real quick, David. Just got a few predictions from you, man, because I know you're a student of the game, and there's even for a slow time of the year, there's a lot going on, especially with you. You got a big undercard, man. You got Bam Rodriguez on there, but the fight that's most intriguing to people was a fight no one saw coming, and I'm calling it maybe the super fight that no one saw coming. Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
That's going to be a great fight. That's a great matchup. You got the reigning defending champion. He doesn't want to let Devin Haney go in there and take the championship from him, so he has that on his side. He's a strong puncher. He's a slick fighter too, Brian Norman. But I just think Devin Haney, he's fought better opposition. I think him going up to 147 is going to help him. I think he's going to be stronger. I think he's going to be faster. And, I ultimately got Devin Haney winning, but it's still a dangerous fight until it ends. Brian Norman has a lot of power in his hands. But also the fight with Bam Bam Rodriguez and Pantera, I think Bam Bam Rodriguez, I think he wins that fight. Bam Bam Rodriguez, he's pound for pound fighter, so I think he definitely goes in there, he does his thing. And also I think Abdullah Mason goes in there, and I think he's going to get a great victory too. You know what I mean? He's a great prospect coming up. I've enjoyed watching his fights as he's coming up, and I think he's definitely going to be a great champion. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel like he's going to make a statement. And then also for the main event, David Benavidez, Anthony Yarde. I'm gonna. I put a great game plan together. I know Anthony Yarde, he's a good fighter with a lot of power, so I have a lot of respect for him. But I put a great game plan, and I see myself stopping him in the middle rounds.
Okay, and then we got one this weekend, a week before yours. Ben Eubank 2, a rematch. How do you see that one playing out?
Oh, that was going to be a good fight, man. I was actually really surprised the first fight. I thought Eubanks was going to go in there and take him out fairly easy, but it's kind of looked like that weight cut is kind of, he's having a big, his difficulty with that weight cut. He's 38 years old, fighting at 160, and Conor Benn, he looks strong at that weight. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a good fight. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Conor Benn this fight. But like I said, nonetheless, so the first fight was a great fight, so I'm expecting a war for both men. But it's going to be a great fight, but I think I got Conor Benn winning that fight.
Okay, split it up, maybe a trilogy. And then we got a rematch potentially, Manny Pacquiao, Money Mayweather, a lot of buzz around that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good fight. That's the fight that I've been hoping that they'd make for a long time. You've seen Pacquiao, he's been doing his thing, he's been fighting a lot, you know what I mean? And it's gonna be a good fight. So I don't know. I mean, Mayweather has been out the ring for a long time. I think he's almost like 50 years old, no?
Yeah, but he's still in,
But he's still Mayweather. He's still Mayweather. But
yeah.
I'm just talking about like as in ring rust. I think Pacquiao has been fighting the better opposition, lately. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that ring rush treats him. But nonetheless, Mayweather's Mayweather. So it's gonna be a great fight if it does happen. So I'm definitely looking forward for that too.
And last question, let me get you out of the fight that everyone's been talking about since Fort Worth this last weekend. I was ringside. I mean, Virgil Ortiz destroyed Erickson Lubin, which I think shocked, not that he beat him, but the way and when he beat him so early. Boots Ennis, he got in the ring with him. with Virgil Ortiz. They faced off. I mean, are those the two best guys at 154? And who do you like in an early prediction?
Yeah, that's a good fight, man. That's hopefully they make that fight as soon as possible, because that's one of the fights I've been waiting for a long, long time. I like both guys. You know, I like Boots and I like Virgil Ortiz. It's really going to come down, that fight, there's so much skill on both sides that it's going to come down to who has more heart and who's willing to sacrifice getting hit, who's willing to walk through shots more, because both of men are going to get hit. I can't tell you who's going to win that fight, but that's going to be a fight where both fighters are going to have to take some leather in the fight. So it's going to be the man who has the most heart and the man that's willing to put himself out more on the line to get that victory. So it's gonna be a great fight, man. I feel like that's gonna be like a classic fight as well. So I'm excited to see that fight when it happens.
Well, man, you're in a big fight next weekend. Anthony Yarde, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, man, stacked card. You're the headline, man. It's always great to catch up with you. Love watching what you're doing and look forward to the fight and the future. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, David. Thanks, man.